I want to tell you about a night I've never fully admitted out loud. I sat in my car in the driveway, engine off, keys still in my hand, and I just didn't go inside. Not because anything was wrong. The house was fine. The people in it were fine. I was fine. That was the problem. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes, just staring at the garage door. And somewhere in that silence, I realized something that scared me more than any bad news ever had. I couldn't remember the last time I actually wanted to be somewhere. Not performing, not managing, not getting through it. Actually wanting to be there. 2 years. It had been almost 2 years, and I hadn't told a single person. Because from the outside, everything looked fine. And everything looks fine is the most isolating sentence in the English language. Here's what nobody tells you about that feeling. It's not depression. It's not burnout. It has no clean label. It's what happens when you spend years optimizing your life for other people's definitions of success and quietly forget to check whether any of it actually feels like you. Some people are not tired because they work too hard. They're tired because they spend every single day pretending they're okay. There were days I kept scrolling, not because the content was good, but because silence felt worse. I used to think I was lazy. Turns out I was emotionally exhausted from performing a version of myself I didn't even like that much. That's the crack nobody talks about. Not the dramatic crisis, the quiet one, the I should be grateful kind that you carry alone, because it doesn't seem serious enough to say out loud. This video is for that feeling. Psychologists call the underlying trap the hedonic treadmill. Your brain is hardwired to adapt to every good thing in your life and fast. The raise, the apartment, the relationship, milestone your brain absorbs, each one recalibrates and immediately begins scanning for the next thing missing. It's not a character flaw, it's evolution. Your ancestors needed that drive to survive. But you're not running from predators. You're running from a notification. And the treadmill is quietly winning. So if the formula we were all handed, work harder, earn more, achieve more, feel better, is broken, what actually works? Stay with me. Because I'm going to give you the answer that took me way too long to find. And I'm going to be more honest with you than most videos in this space are willing to be. A man making $40,000 a month told me something I couldn't shake. He said, "Every night I open Instagram. Every night I close it feeling like I'm falling behind. 40,000 a month. Genuinely successful. And still every night that feeling. That's not a money problem. It's not even a mindset problem. It's a brain architecture problem. And once you understand how it actually works, you stop blaming yourself and start changing the right things." Here's the research. Short version. No textbook, I promise. Sonia Lubomirsky, one of the leading happiness researchers in the world, found that 50% of how happy you feel is genetic. Hardwired before you were born, 10% is your circumstances, income, neighborhood, health. The other 40%, what you repeatedly do every single day. Whether or not you feel like it, nearly half your happiness is a choice you're making right now, mostly by accident. But here's what that research won't say out loud. That 40% doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care that you know what you should be doing. It only responds to what you actually do. Again and again. Until your brain accepts it as the new normal, your brain is not fixed. Neuroscientists prove this. The brain rewires itself constantly based on repeated behavior. What you practice, you become, which means every time you reach for your phone, the second you wake up, you're voting for anxiety. Every time you scroll until midnight, you're voting for dissatisfaction. Every time you replay an argument in your head, for the fourth time you're voting for a brain that defaults to threat. You are training yourself. The question is just toward what? Here are the only 2 habits I want you to start with. Not 5. Not a whole system. 2. Habit 1. Write 3 lines at night. Not morning. Night. Your brain consolidates memory during sleep. If the last input is comparison and noise, that's what gets reinforced. So before you sleep, 3 sentences. What didn't suck today? 1 real thing. Even small. The coffee was good. I finished something I was avoiding. My kid laughed at something stupid, and it was the best part of my day. That's it. After 2 weeks, something shifts. Your brain starts scanning your whole day looking for those 3 things. You've quietly redirected the default lens. Habit 2. Move for 15 minutes. Anyway. Every day. Before you negotiate with yourself about it. Not for aesthetics. For brain chemistry, exercise releases BDNF, your brain's own growth protein. 4 to 6 hours of improved mood and cognition, no supplement comes close. And you don't need a gym, you need a decision. 2 habits. Both take under 20 minutes combined. Both work because they're based on what the brain actually responds to, not what sounds impressive. The life you want is hiding inside the habits you keep avoiding. Let me say something uncomfortable. Most people reading this already know what they should do. Journal, move, connect, be present, worry less. They know, and they're still not doing it. That's not a knowledge problem. That's a trap problem. And there are 3 of them working on you right now, today, that most self-improvement content is too polite to name directly. Trap 1. You are watching other people's movies and grading your own rough cut. Everything online is a final edit. Color-corrected, scored, selected from hundreds of takes. Nobody posts the draft. Nobody shares the Sunday at 3 p.m. when they feel completely pointless and can't explain why. What you're seeing is not real life. It's a performance of real life. And your ancient tribal brain wired for comparison since the Stone Age treats it as raw data. Here's the result. A study tracking passive social media use found it directly correlated with higher envy, loneliness, and depression. Not because social media is evil, because comparison is a game with no finish line and no winners. Move. Kill the notifications. All of them. Every ping pulls your brain from focus, and full recovery takes 23 minutes. You're not scrolling more than you want to. You're responding to triggers you forgot you installed. Trap 2. You are waiting for a version of your life that will never arrive before you start living this one. When things settle down. When I have more energy. When the timing is better. Those sentences have stolen more years from more people than almost anything else in human history. Here is what I want you to hear. Things. Don't. Settle. You settle into the life you keep choosing by default. Or you interrupt it. Those are the only 2 options. Trap 3. The quietest and cruelest one. You are not actually there for your own life. You're at dinner, but you're nowhere near that table. You're with your kid, but you're 2 conversations ahead. You're in the moment, but your mind left an hour ago. Harvard researchers tracked 2,200 people in real time and found that people's minds wandered 47% of all waking hours. And the finding was consistent. A wandering mind is an unhappy mind, even when it wanders somewhere pleasant. Happiness doesn't live in the future you're planning or the past you're replaying. It only exists in the moment you're currently ignoring. Move. Build transition rituals. 1 physical action that marks the shift between modes. Tea before you walk in the door. 3 breaths before you open the bedroom. Phone face down before the first bite. Small enough to feel silly. Powerful enough to change how you experience your own days. And when comparison bites, look backward, not upward. Not at who's ahead of you. At who you were 2 years ago. Count that distance, because you survived things you didn't think you would. That counts, more than you're letting it. I want to come back to something. That night in the car. If I knew then what I know now, I think I would have stayed in the car a little longer. Not to wallow, but to finally ask the question I'd been outrunning for 2 years. Is this actually the life I chose? Or is it just the one I never stopped to question? Most of us never ask that. Not because we're afraid of the answer, because we're afraid of the silence that comes before it. But that silence, that's where the real conversation starts. Here's what 85 years of Harvard research, the longest happiness study ever conducted, found when they tracked hundreds of human lives, from young adulthood all the way to death. The people who were happiest at the end weren't the wealthiest, weren't the most accomplished, weren't the ones who had optimized the most. They were the ones who had kept their relationships warm. That's it. The whole study. Warm relationships. Not a network. Not followers. Not people who know your name. People who know your actual life. The ones you can be quiet with. The ones you can call at 2 a.m. and they'll pick up without making it weird. Most people know this matters. And still, slowly, accidentally let their closest relationships starve. Because life gets full. Because reaching out starts to feel awkward. Because they're waiting for the other person to go first. Relationships don't die dramatically. They die in the gap between we should catch up and making an actual plan. Habit 3. 1 real message. 1 person. Every day. 3 sentences. Something specific. Thought of you today. How did that thing go? I'm around. It takes 40 seconds. And compounded over years, it's the entire difference between being someone people feel close to and someone they've quietly drifted from. Now the last thing. The most important thing. There is a difference between happiness and meaning. and confusing them will cost you years. Happiness is a feeling. Meaning is the thing that holds you together when the feeling is gone. Raising kids isn't always happy. It's hard and unglamorous, and some days you run completely empty. But it means something, and meaning carries you through. Hard work isn't always enjoyable, but work that matters keeps you going when enjoyment isn't available. Stop asking, "Am I happy?" Start asking, "Does what I'm doing mean something to me?" A life built on meaning weathers the seasons when happiness goes quiet, and it comes back. It always does if you've built something worth returning to. Every day you choose your habits, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Most people will finish this video, feel something real for a few minutes, and then go back to exactly what they were doing before. I know that. You probably know that too. So I'm not going to ask you to change your life. I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. This week, that's all. 1. Tonight. Before you open anything, write 3 sentences about today. Not beautiful, not wise, just real. What was okay? What you noticed? What you don't want to forget? 2. Tomorrow. Send 1 real message to 1 person. 3 sentences. Something specific. Not hey, something that says, "I thought about you, and I meant to." 3. Choose 1 moment each day where you put the phone down and you are actually physically completely there at the table, on the walk, wherever you are, be there. And tonight, if you get home and you're sitting in your car for an extra minute before you go inside, don't just scroll. Sit in it. Ask yourself the question, because that pause, that 30 seconds before you walk back into your life, might be the first moment you finally decide to change it. The version of you that does these 3 things for 7 days. They start becoming someone different. Quietly, slowly. The way all real change actually happens. You already have what you need. Every day you choose your habits, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Here's what I'm asking you to do this week.